Welcome back to Ox Tools. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tom. We've been working on the heavy-duty steady rest for the Yam lathe, and this is a little knob for the latch between the two split halves of the steady rest. So this catches a bolt and clamps the two halves together. I didn't show this on video. It was just simple turning and parting stuff, so I'm not going to spend bandwidth on that. I've already done some of that. So what we're doing now is I decided to go ahead and put some, instead of knurling the OD, I've always kind of preferred flutes, so you can sink your fingers into the flutes and bear down on them pretty good, as opposed to the cheese grater knurling that gets put on some knobs. Anyway, so flutes, even when they get kind of smoothed off, you can still get a good purchase on them. So what I did is a pattern of 6, and here's the, see if you can see that there. There's the kind of the little chicken sketch there. And what I've done is I've located the 6 positions around here to go down and create those radii that are the flutes of the knob. And so now, this is just a cylindrical cut straight through there. And I've got this kind of heavy chamfer on the top, decorative obviously. And what I want to do is I want to smack a little chamfer on those notches or those flutes that I've cut. So what I'm using here is, and we'll zoom in on this, it's just using a boring head here. Actually, you know what, I think I will just, let's see, have I calibrated that? Yeah, I think I'll just bring you in for a close-up, because I've cut one already just to check the tool, and so I got a Z-height set now, so I won't take it out, but I'll show you. But what this is a boring head that my old tool maker friend Charlie gave me a long time ago. And it's a Criterion, but it's kind of a weirdo one. It's got a 1-inch shank, and it's a single hole. So anyway, it's got a limited range. So over the years, I've ended up making, and he made a whole bunch of very strange tools that go into the thing. So there's one. I'm really curious what the job was that he was doing with that. So it's all brazed with a little piece of tool steel in there. So who knows what the heck he was doing with that. And here's one. And you know what? Who knows what these were for? I think we made this one because it's welded together with silicon bronze here onto a stainless shaft. So we probably made that for some. I have no idea, So folks, do one thing, you end up, over the years, you end up with some really weird-ass tooling. There's another weird one, right? And, each one of these, there's a story, right? I mean, I kick myself for not doing it, but you can engrave on the back, this was for, the left-handed muffler bearing cut, or, whatever it is, right? And just to jog your memory 20 years later so that you can remember what the hell something like that was used for. Some kind of strange fly cutter or something like that. So anyway, yeah, so I can't throw these away because they're kind of weird and cool. But and they also make, you can modify them obviously and make other tools out of them later on. So and that's what's going on here is we have a little stub shaft, and a tool bit is welded to the end of it, which is a quick way to get a hardened tool on the end of a shaft instead of grinding your brains out on tool steel. And once again, I'll zoom in on that and you can get a better look at it. But we're using this here to, I've ground this off at a 45-degree angle now to make a nice chamfer, a machine chamfer on that edge. So that's what's of interest here, and I'll zoom in a little bit and you can see that. So, okay, so here's the tool here. So it's it's just a piece of 1-inch shaft here, stainless steel looks like here, And I just took a high-speed tool bit here and just welded it on. Oh, it looks like we milled a little groove for it to sit in there and then welded it on. And that makes it easier to put the cutting edge on center of that, of the diameter there. So anyway, what we're doing here is we're coming down, and I've got a stop set here, and this is just going to sweep through here and make a cut on that and produce a little 45 on that deal there. So we'll go ahead and do one of those. Okay, so I just did that one. That one probably wasn't a good one to see on the video since the camera has to come in from this angle. So we're going to do this one right now. So I'm going to get down close so I know where I am. So that's touching, and then I'm going to come up just a little bit, fire it up. And just gently come down. And I got some chatter on that one. Let's see. I'm going to slow it down a little bit and then see if I can get those chatter marks out of there. Oh yeah, that looks better. Anyway, that's the general idea there. And then we'll move over to the next spot, which should be 684 on that side. And 184, 684. So it's a single cutting edge, so you got to be a little bit careful coming down. You don't want to jam it in there. Okay, and you can see that. Double check my numbers. Now's not the time to screw it up, right? So this is just an illustration of using, basically this is a form tool, but you're using a form tool in the boring head. That's what's significant about the. I mean, I don't know. It's not that significant, but it's of interest I got to pay attention here, Filming and machining is sometimes detrimental to your part. 184, Y, 684, okay. Yeah, so why some of those are chattering and some aren't is a mystery. This is a hard bronze here. Let that spark out. Okay, it feels pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, anyway, that's a form tool in the boring head. So something else I thought of while I was here was how I had this set up in the mill here. So when you set up round stuff in the mill, there's a couple things you got to watch out for. So it's real tempting to do something like this and just put it on a parallel and kind of go for it. So but it's got some serious problems, especially with round stuff. It's really easy to get it tipped like this because you're only grabbing it on 2 points this way, right? So it's easy, you can see it wants it as wee, it's a little seesaw, right? And when that single lip cutter hits it like that, it'll just do something like that, right? So what I did is this is an old Brown and Sharp V block, and normally these are kind of sold in matched pairs, but I got this one kind of as a single, and it was kind of rusty on one end and kind of funky. So what I did was I cut it off. I cut off one side of it and made it, and then surface ground the tops, or the cut side. So it's pretty much the same. It's a lot lower, and it's close to the same height as the jaw. In retrospect, I said, oh, maybe I'll just leave it a little strong on the jaw. And I probably should have taken it down, pretty much dead flush with a standard jaw. But anyway, it seems to work. But one nice thing about there's the burrs on the bottom there, about when you're working with round stuff, if you put something in a good V block like this, the V is perpendicular with the bottom and the back and all that. Well, what we do is when we put this in there, and you can still fish a parallel in there to hold it up, and you put that in there, well, it's in the V. So automatically we get perpendicularity out of it. And then the most important thing that we get out of it is we get 3-point contact, okay? So it can't rock. It's like a 3-legged stool now. So all points touch regardless of the shape, kind of, whether it's round or kind of round, okay? And we have 3 points of contact. So it's the tripod principle. And I barely tightened that thing, okay? And I can't even wiggle it, okay? And you put a little pressure on that, you're good to go. And even for some fairly significant heavy milling. And then the other thing I do is if I have repeat setups, and I'll grab one real quick. A lot of people have these parallel clamps, and they're not sure how to use them, right? They're kind of an archaic clamp, compared to some of the really nice C-clamps and things that we have now. And admittedly, they have kind of limited use, right? But one thing that they're really, really good for is holding this here. In fact, this one, you can see that it's almost set exactly where I need it to be set. And for those of you that haven't played around with these clamps before, you open them up like this or close them down like that. And, okay. And then when you get it real close, then what you do is you operate the rear screw to pinch the front down, okay? And so now what I'm doing here is if I want to do a repeat setup, I can put this V block in here, and I can crank this down, and I can put another one over here. But now the V block is kind of locked in place now, like that. So the V block is in place, so now I can, I could do multiples of these, and my V block's not going to move around. And the other way I do that is I have an aluminum soft jaw here that I've cut a big V in, right? And you can just bolt that sucker in and throw rounds in there and do multiple setups with that. So that's a little handy accessory there for guys to make. And I don't see it. I got one around here somewhere where I take the thing out of your mouth, Tom. Is I've done a V like that in another one, so it's got a very wide angle V like that. So you can now hold a a disc or something fairly large diameter and have a good 3-point contact on it. So this is a pretty good little accessory to make, real easy to make. It's just made out of a standard commercial aluminum soft jaw, you know, and a big V cut into it. I mean, obviously you can make these yourself, but RJ Soft Jaws sells these for, you know, $15 a pair with the holes and the material and everything. And shoot, you know, you can barely buy the material for $15, right? So I tend to just kind of every once in a while buy a few soft jaws and just stick them away. I don't use a lot of soft jaws here. I use more soft jaws when I'm doing CNC work, where you might cut a particular shape in the top and insert a part or something like that. So anyway, so that's round stuff in a vise with a V block. So that's a good little trick to put in your box. All right, so we got the knob done, and of course. The sound of wrenches dropping. So this is the little latch bolt. I just had a nut on there to kind of secure it. And here's where our fluted knob goes here. And okay. All right. Anyway, so there's one there, and then let's see if I can tip this up here. You can see I got ye old vice grips here on the adjuster. So I'm just trying out the adjuster here for the roller guide. But there'll be some fluted knobs on here too, so we're gonna make 3 of those. They'll probably be a little bit different than these. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna look like. It's gonna depend on what I have kicking around for material. So I gotta go scrounge around in the bins and see what's around, and you know, what diameter we can make them or what we want to do with those. So that's a video camera malfunction there. I pulled the plug out of it. I'll bring you in closer. Okay, so secure that down a little bit. Got our knob here. That folds down out of the way. And then we need our knobs here and our hinge and some finish work, and we're going to call this one quits. The locking bolts here too. I need those, so a couple more little things, but mostly done. Coming out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm still thinking about what kind of finish work I want to do. I think I'm just going to do a sandblast and a kind of a grinding with some radius, some small radiusing or chamfering, and put a coat of paint on it, and call it good. So anyway.